What's going on, everyone? Today was a crazy day in the stock market as 68% of stocks in the S&P 500 closed up in the green. The market made a brand new all-time high, and Bitcoin cracked above $76,000 for the first time ever. The only thing that's moving more than the market right now is the amount of people searching to move to Canada. But on a more serious note, while today was very explosive, this craziness is just getting started. And in today's video, we're going to cover the stocks that are moving the most from Trump's election, important things to know going forward, and a very important FOMC event that is happening tomorrow that way too many people are forgetting about. So we have a lot of important things to cover today, and we actually have a bonus today where we have two big money trades. So make sure to stick with us all the way until the end. And Tom, let's get right to it.
Yeah, look at that gap up on the SPY this morning. That was fantastic to see. SPY doesn't always have 2% days. It was up 2.49% on the SPY, and you can see that gap up to the new all-time highs. We actually even saw the QQQ break above $500 today, which was a pretty good short-term feat as well. It's been kind of stuck at that resistance. So we saw some really great movement today on this overall election reaction. Mike, I was actually worried that we were going to see a negative reaction, you know, like one of the buy the rumor, sell the news type of events, but I was really happy to see these stocks continue, and there was a lot of great opportunities throughout the trading day today as well. You know, Tesla had a big gap this morning, but even like the crypto stocks are popping off in a crazy way, so it was a sea of green today. I don't think that a picture can justify it, but at least Elon here was reaping the joy last night, that's for sure.
True that. And, you know, as you look at the heat map, there are so many different industries and stocks that are just ripping right now. Like you said, Tesla gained a lot, and crypto's gained a lot too, but there are other areas in the market like prison stocks, like ticker symbol GEO and CXW, that also had great gains as well. But, you know, there's so much bullishness all across the board, and I would say out of everything, some of the, I would say the area that's getting the strongest and most consistent buying pressure is definitely the crypto side of things. A lot of people look at Donald Trump as very pro-crypto, and he's certainly helping boost this industry quite a bit. So, of course, Bitcoin is a given to watch out for, but even tickers like COIN, MSTR, MARA, and like just like anything to do with crypto right now is just booming, and there's a lot of action with it. And while that's awesome to hear, that doesn't mean to just like YOLO buy into any crypto-related stock. Of course, you have to have good positioning and everything like that, but it's like, you know, the crypto side of things is where the action's at right now.
Yeah, it really is. I love Coinbase in the short term, up 31%, but let's just even go to the Bitcoin daily chart and just check it out really quick, because Bitcoin's actually been channeling here to the downside for quite a few months. You can see throughout this year, Bitcoin was in a pretty bad downwards channel, and we're actually starting to see a great extension and breakout out of this channel, and we actually saw a good confirmation off of it recently as well. With the good movement here, this could reignite, obviously, a nice bull run, and I'm curious how high we get with Bitcoin. Let us know in the comments what your projections are. I know a lot of people are looking for like 100K. Some people are even calling for 200K. You know, it's crazy out there.
Yeah, and as we look at cryptos right now, I think the key thing to keep in mind with them in like a practical trading sense is to enjoy the uptrend while it lasts, and, you know, don't be afraid to get in on this, but at the same time, you have to make sure that when this tide does turn, you don't want to be left holding the bag. A stock that has been really hot lately is Palantir, and this is a company that we've been very bullish about for a very long time, and while it is beyond amazing to see it ripping to the upside like it is right now, the same principles apply with this, like we talked about earlier this week, as with cryptos. It's like, as there's a lot of bullish momentum, it's like, yes, take advantage of that, but like once that tide turns, you don't want to be left holding the bag, and just be quick to adjust. So that's like my main statement with cryptos right now. Enjoy the uptrend, but don't don't marry the bull trend, at least right now.
Yeah, and I think a great example of this, Mike, is the China stocks. We just saw a great situation where the China stocks ripped up and too many people got caught holding the bag. Like, it's still been a great overall move, but too many people were bag holding, so to say, from the top and not really cutting as the tide started to shift. That's just a great example because everybody was loving those China stocks while they were going, but once the sentiment changes, it flips around pretty quickly as traders get pretty emotional out there. But I'm loving the move with Bitcoin. Let me know what your favorite crypto is and crypto related stock is in the comments. There's a lot out there. Even Doge obviously had a pretty big move last night, up 14% in its own right. So I know that's one that Elon's talked about a lot.
Alrighty. So while that's awesome, there is a very important event on the schedule for tomorrow. The big man, Jerome Powell, is coming back at 2:30 p.m. Eastern Time. At 2 p.m. Eastern Time is when the interest rate decision will happen. Long story short, the biggest, most important economic data point over the past couple of years has been inflation, as I'm sure we all know about. Jerome Powell is kind of like the key player when it comes to inflation and is arguably the most powerful person in the world when it comes to the global economy and especially U.S. markets. Tomorrow, he's going to have an event where he makes an interest rate decision and talks about, what he sees in the economy right now and some key things going forward on what the Federal Reserve will be doing. More specifically, we can see that the market is pricing in over a 99% chance that the Federal Reserve will cut interest rates by 25 basis points. This is interesting because an action like this definitely incentivizes more growth for the economy at the risk of higher inflation. What will be more important than the actual interest rate decision is what the big man, Jerome Powell, says. So at 2:30 p.m. Eastern Time tomorrow, be ready. Jerome Powell will have his press conference, and this event moves the markets quite a bit. This event will be very important.
Yeah, and like you said, it's being overshadowed, obviously, by everything else going on. Like, of course, the election is the most important thing of the week, but this is going to be an event that could definitely shift things. Let's just say right now, there's a lot of good bullishness today. This could end up changing tomorrow if Jerome Powell decides to come out and say the wrong thing or have the wrong tone, right? So it's going to be a big event, Mike, and I'm worried to see how yields do. Looking at the yield move from today, we saw US 10Y start to pop up quite a bit as the yields were popping higher, and TLT is going to be on watch tomorrow as well. It's actually starting to break under and trend that it's been having on the way up. Now it does still have the higher low in effect right now, but this is definitely something that I'm watching for with TLT to potentially keep falling more here. So that's going to be a big event for it tomorrow.
Yeah, and I think it's a phenomenal thing that you brought that up because while TLT surely is nowhere near as popular as Bitcoin or Tesla or anything else out there, it is extremely important because ever since the Federal Reserve cut interest rates by 50 basis points back in September, the market basically called BS on that and yields started to pop up. As I'm sure many of you know, mortgage rates have been increasing pretty steadily and they're certainly increasing even more right now. If you look at ticker symbol TLT, the more that falls, that means the more interest rates are rising. So depending on which way this moves tomorrow, will say a lot about what the market is, how it's responding to Jerome Powell. Because if we see TLT fall a lot more, that's just the market saying even calling louder BS on Jerome Powell. So keep that in mind. TLT will be worth watching very closely. But as we know, we are still in earnings season, Tom. What is the schedule looking like for the rest of the week? Because it has been an exciting one.
Yeah, and there's still quite a bit left here. Tomorrow, one of my favorite stocks is CCJ reporting in pre-market. That one's been huge with all the uranium movement lately, so that'll be big. We also have Moderna, GOLD, which is Barrick Gold, Datadog, Halliburton, all in pre-market tomorrow, and even Geo, which is one of those prison stocks. So figured I'd mention that one too. And then of course we have one of our favorites, Mike, DraftKings there in after hours with Square, Rivian, Unity, The Trade Desk, Affirm. Pinterest, Airbnb. I mean, there's too many to name here for this earnings season, Mike. But even CGC on Friday mixed in there. So that's quite the rundown here. And some of these stocks had insane moves today, like GEO, which is a bit underrated.
Awesome. Yeah, so definitely keep these stocks close on watch as well. But looking more at SPY right now, the market is at all-time highs. Tom, what are the most important levels to watch for SPY tomorrow in both directions?
Yeah, I think honestly, the good support for tomorrow is going to be the 585 support from today. This morning, SPY actually dipped a little bit at open and touched 585 and ended up holding it very well. That was also a previous peak on SPY, so I'm going to use that as major support. As far as short-term support, there was definitely some intraday resistance around 590, and now that SPY is past it, I'm going to be using that as support as well. As far as resistances, it's hard to say right now because we're in uncharted territory, but whenever you're in uncharted territory like this, generally whole dollar marks are the best things to look for. I'm really going to have my eyes on 595 and then of course $600 over the next couple days. I don't think that we'll hit 600 tomorrow, but nonetheless 595 and 600 are definitely my main two levels I'm watching to the upside.
Damn, 600, Tom. I remember back in 2022 when SPY was around that like $350 level, and I blinked my eyes, and now we're a couple dollars away from 600. So it's been a crazy past couple of years, and I don't think this craziness is going to slow down anytime soon.
Yeah, 69% from that low in 2022, just a couple years, and we're seeing 69% moves out of the S&P 500. That is awesome, and I think that also goes to show that long-term positions are still amazing as well, right? I know a lot of people want to hit that short-term gain, but I'll tell you what, holding the SPY the past few years has been pretty lucrative also.
Yeah, and like when we look at SPY, I think it's definitely worth covering for those who are newer to the market, what markets are like under Trump. And I'll put it this way, they're a lot more crazy and they're a lot more volatile, and that's a good thing for short-term traders. What we've seen Trump do in the past is, he's definitely not shy to throw out some bold tweets, you could say. When these tweets happened in the past, they've moved markets in very big waves to the upside and the downside. So as like the next couple months and years progress, understand that the market will change. So it's important to be aware of like how the market's changing and to adapt with it. Of course, as you guys know, we're going to cover this every single day as we do with all stock market related information. But the main thing I wanted to say is that markets are different under Trump in a good way. That's in a good way for trading, because it just gets a lot more volatile and it moves a lot more in both directions. So that's pretty exciting. But we also have some pretty cool data to cover about what the market historically does from election day to the end of the year. And we could see that at least over like the past 100 years or so, it's been pretty positive on average.
Yeah, it really has here. I like that we're seeing 58% of the time the market ends up moving higher, so that's a good thing to see. And whenever it does move higher, it moves higher by a pretty significant amount, I would say. Of course, there's a lot of down years, like in 2000, where we had the dot-com bubble, which the market fell 7.8%, or in 2008, down 10% there with Obama. But whenever you do see these pops, sometimes we see like 3, 4, 5, 6, 7% moves here. So that's one thing I really like, and we're kicking it off on the right note, right? We're not starting it off on a bad drop today or anything like that. So I'm kind of foreseeing it to go green, Mike. And we've looked at a lot of historical data that has shown that as the market's been this hot this year, it generally continues. So this is just another good piece of historical data for that.
Sounds great. Well, let's get right into some setups and predictions then. A stock I'm watching very closely right now is OXY, and it is to the upside. I talked about this setup a couple times over the past week, and it's moving to the upside in a pretty nice way, which is great to see. It's up just under 2% on the day. There was a recent big money play with this one, as we could see on the chart, and it's holding the $50 support level in a pretty strong way. OXY is definitely still on my bullish radar going forward. I love the way it's holding support. I love the how much volume came into the stock today, and I like how steady this short-term price action is with this $50 support level. So OXY is still on my bullish radar.
Yeah, I like it a lot here. OXY moving up so well off support. So many people were happy with this one today because they've been holding and trusting that support that we've been watching, and it did get very, very close to those recent lows. So that's something that freaked a lot of traders out. But today we saw the comeback, and it moved in an awesome way. So there we go. For all of the Oxy traders out there. With my first setup, I'm looking at Coin and MicroStrategy. I said these two yesterday, and they ended up having fantastic intraday moves today. It's not like the market opened and they chopped around or anything like that. From open today until the high of day, Coin popped up 18% and was up 31% on the day overall. It is at a big resistance, though, at $260. And we can see on the Bookmap, there was quite a big stack of shares there, around 34,000. Of course, this isn't Apple or anything like that, but that is a big stack of shares for Coinbase. So watch this 260 sell wall overhead. It's going to be a big resistance, but if we break it tomorrow and we have good momentum like today, the intraday movement on some options can be fantastic.
If you guys have not used Bookmap already, definitely check it out. It'll be the first link in the description down below. It basically lets you see exactly where buyers and sellers are lined up, so you can know ahead of time of the key pivotal levels, like Tom just showed on Coinbase. So it's great for knowing like points where like the tide can turn, and StockedUp viewers do get a special offer if you use the link in the description. But it's awesome. Shout out to Bookmap. We love you. Again, it'll be that first link in the description. But another setup that I'm watching very closely right now is IWM. Small caps are coming back to life. As we look at IWM right now, this thing is rocketing as it closed up by just under 6% on the day. IWM, for those of you who don't know, is the Russell 2000. It's an index kind of like SPY or QQQ, but it's more so focused on smaller cap companies. This is rocketing up especially strong today off of the election news with Trump. Looking at this price action more in depth, we can see that there was a lot of just power and momentum that came into this one, especially in after hours. But it says a lot when you see the Russell 2000 move up in a way like it currently is. As we look at IWM, while this price action today has been very strong, over the past couple of years, IWM has just been sleeping and it really hasn't moved too much. It has an all-time high right around that like $244 area, and it's certainly moving to that level in a pretty quick way. IWM will definitely be on my bullish radar, not specifically for tomorrow, but definitely over the next couple weeks and months, because I feel like that this is an area of the market that has been lagging behind a lot over recent years, and it's gaining a lot of attention and momentum in the short term. And you know, when it has an update like it did today, as it popped up by 6%, that says a lot.
Yeah, it definitely does. And I thought that was crazy how it broke that 230 resistance from the past too. And it's definitely getting closer towards that all-time high. I'll definitely have it on the radar. With one of my next plays for tomorrow, I'm looking at SPXL, which is actually a leveraged ETF that follows the S&P 500. So this is awesome here. You can trade SPXL to follow SPY's movement. You can see it was up 7% today though. So like I said, it's 3x leverage. So it's going to have some crazy movement. But whenever the stock market's moving like what we're seeing now, you can catch some great runs with this one. So I'll be looking for the SPY to continue with that bullishness and just that good overall price action for tomorrow. I thought it closed very well today, holding above 590. And as long as we open above there, I'm going to be definitely watching it back up tomorrow. So let's go SPXL. Hopefully this can help somebody maybe catch a bigger move, especially if you're someone that likes to trade shares. This could be much better than trying to day trade, you know, SPY or something like that. Of course, though, if you're an options trader, SPY's options can be pretty lucrative.
Awesome. All right, well, let's jump right into today's momentum plays then. And with the first one, we have WULF to the upside.
Yeah, this one had a great reaction today as well, 23%. If it can break above $7.70, just above that double top there today, then watch it back to the upside.
All right, with the next one, we have GEO, also to the upside.
Yeah, Geo's nuts. Now, they do report earnings tomorrow, so I did want to make people aware of that in the morning, so watch out for that. But after their earnings come out, if we see a good move up above $22, keep watching this one up. This one has a lot of momentum. It's going to be more of a momentum feel type of trade, so just keep that in mind.
All right, and then with the last one, we have LMND also to the upside.
Lemonade, yeah, 16%. I think this one got slept on a little bit today. If they end up breaking out above 30, keep watching them up there at a crucial whole dollar mark.
All right, so we have Lemonade, Geo, and Wolf on watch for potential upside momentum plays. If and only if they break through the levels listed. Basically, the stronger and more consistent these stocks move, the better the momentum aspect of the play becomes. If they don't break the levels listed, then don't force the setups. Again, we are looking for strength and consistency here with these plays. So definitely keep them on the radar for tomorrow. And let's jump right into today's big money plays. And with the first one, we have a $751,000 trade with GTLB. Today, the big money bought the 65 strike call options that expire on March 21st of 2025. This is a decent sized play. The stock has some pretty good momentum in the short term, and it's holding like the $40 to $50 support area pretty well, or it has been, I should say, over the past couple of months. Either way, it's moving to the upside in a strong way. And what I like about this setup is that it is not to the point where it's already up so much where it kind of like increases like that momentum shift aspect. I like how it's more like mid-ranged and it's in the process of building more momentum. But yeah, very interesting setup.
Yeah, it is kind of middle of the range here, and I love the way it's holding that lower support. Looks great, and in the short term, it's bouncing around the $60 mark. If we see another good continuation tomorrow, I think this one could be great, and we're seeing a lot of good movement in the short term where a lot of stocks are breaking out. I would not be surprised to see GTLB move higher above 60 and come to actually fill the gap from the past up towards $70. So that's honestly what I'm looking for with GTLB, but of course, just if we do see a little bit of consolidation at this resistance, don't be too worried because it might consolidate a little bit before breaking.
All right, and then with the second big money play, we have a $466,000 trade with Celsius. So I know for sure a lot of you have heard of this company. Celsius has been exploding over the past couple of years, but the stock has gotten taken to the woodshed in the short term. Today, the big money bought the 15 strike call options that expire on January 15th of 2027. So it looks like the big money is buying up this dip here. It's just under a $500,000 trade. These options are relatively high quality as they are the 15 strikes, so they're pretty deep in the money, and they have a bunch of time to them, so they're like a leap option. But long story short, this is like a big buy the dip play. I really like the reward to risk with this setup, assuming you're willing to give this setup the time it needs. This option expires in January of 2027. What this stock does tomorrow or next week has almost no influence on this setup. Looking at it, I like how the stock is just oversold so much. Its fundamentals are pretty good, and it's also like holding its support level in a pretty strong way around its recent lows. So with everything being said, I really like the reward to risk, and I'm excited to see how this big money trade does over the long term.
Yeah, exactly. You just have to give it the time it needs. I do love the support here, but if you're going to give it the time it needs, it might even, fluctuate a little bit around here. So just remember that. It's definitely a long-term play on this one. I don't know how to even stress that one enough with this one, Mike, because it's so far out. It's not all the time that we have leaps out to 2027, but it was cool to have two big money plays today. That was a special treat, so that'll be nice. But I know Celsius has been very popular. If you don't know Celsius energy drinks by now, you must be living under a rock.
Who doesn't, right? Like their advertising is everywhere. But yeah, definitely keep this one close on watch going forward. But we are in for a crazy rest of the year, not only because of the recent election, but there is a lot going on in the market right now in so many different ways. Like, Tom, the market's crazy when everyone is forgetting about the Jerome Powell event tomorrow when he's set to cut rates. So it's an exciting time to be a trader. If you are into short-term trading, definitely check out the first link in the comments down below. Basically, the StockedUp trading floor gives you everything you can need for short-term trading. You get full access to our army of custom bots. You can chat with Tom and myself all day long. Join our weekly live events, which are actually tonight, so definitely keep that in mind. hours and hours of education and more tools than you could possibly even need for short-term trading. When we look at the high-risk scalp spot today, it called off some bombers. We could see that there were some hood call options called out that popped up by 540%, coin calls that popped up by 381%, CLF calls that popped up by 220%, and a lot more action all across the board. If you're into short-term trading, this is the place to be. It'll be that first link in the comments down below. But we also want to give a giant shout out to today's member of the day, Credit Omega, who made their first bot trade today and made like $230 with Amazon. So huge shout out to you, Credit, and keep on rolling. And Tom, I have to say it was a pretty great day all across the board when we scroll through this profits channel. So huge shout out to everyone, and let's keep on going. There's going to be a lot more action throughout the rest of the year, and it is a great time to be a trader. If this is your first time watching a Stocked Up video, then first of all, welcome, and consider subscribing to get our videos recommended to you more often. In every single video, we cover the most important news, information, earnings, big money plays, setups to watch, and everything you have to know about the market in normally 20 to 25 minutes or less. So welcome aboard. But besides that, thank you all so much for watching, and let's crush it in the market tomorrow.